Hey, it's Scott from San Marcos Makes. I have a question for you. You ever craved fried rice? And I'm not meaning the Panda Express fried rice or takeout really cruddy fried rice. I mean that really good fried rice. That's what we're making today. Yes, you can even make that rice at home. Taking my inspiration from one of the greatest cookbooks I've ever read. Truly fantastic cookbook by Kenji Lopez. If you don't know that channel, holy moly, it's where I get most of my inspiration from. Very good cookbook. Author in this cookbook is incredible on the wok. We're going to be using a wok, but of course you can definitely use a skillet. Don't think you cannot. Everything I'm going to do, if you don't have a wok, you can definitely do. It's just easier if you're in a wok, but it can definitely be done. We're gonna first start by making the protein that goes into this, which is a shrimp and pork. But honestly, we're making fried rice. You can almost use any protein that you want. I will put some of the recipe in the description, but I don't want to do a disservice to Kenji. I want you to go buy his book. I don't want to give you the recipe, but I'm gonna use his recipe, but adding a couple of the things or subbing my own ingredients. But this is one of those rare recipes, since I am truly almost copying his recipe. I didn't want to put it in the description. I don't think it's fair to him, but I think this is a $30 cookbook. This should be on your shelf. It's that good. All right, so we're gonna first start with some ground pork. Just not seasoned, just everyday ground pork. To that, we are gonna add the shrimp. So I took fresh shrimp and I cut it small. You don't want a big piece of shrimp as you're eating. You want them relatively small. Plus they need to cook quick. So shrimp goes in there. We're also going to add to this mixture light soy sauce. When I say light, I'm not meaning low sodium or a better for you soy sauce. There's traditional soy sauce is either light or dark. If you stick with, and you're gonna find in most grocery stores, the Kikkoman or the Choy, those are gonna be light soy sauce. But again, that's not low sodium, it's light soy sauce. Dark soy sauce is much, obviously darker, but it's got a little sweetness to it. This one's a little more salty. So if you don't have an Asian grocery store near you and can't get light soy sauce, Kikkoman, that's what I'm still using until I run out and can get some light soy sauce. You're also gonna add white pepper. It's not black pepper, white pepper. Really good ingredient that is needed for a lot of Asian cooking. We're also gonna add some sugar. Then we're gonna add cornstarch, not a slurry. We just need some cornstarch. It's gonna act as our binder. Oop, didn't all come out. We're gonna add some baking soda. And then we're gonna do both garlic minced up. Well, that was actually the ginger and the garlic. Now, once you have all the ingredients in there, it's time to get messy. You're going to have to mix all this up by hand, get it good and mixed. After it is mixed, we can refrigerate this. You at least want to refrigerate it for 30 minutes, but you know, you can let it go for a couple hours overnight. It's just gonna make the mix, or what we're gonna call the mix, and what Kenji calls the mix. It's just gonna make it taste better. So get it all mixed up and get it in the refrigerator. Take your cooked rice, and if you have day-old rice, it won't be as wet. If it is a few hours or fresh rice, just do your best to separate the grains. It'll just make it easier as you're cooking it. But this is, I'm using a jasmine rice. Feel free to use any type of rice. Even sushi rice will work. It's just gonna be more sticky. But a white
long grain rice is probably going to be your best bet. But just go through, make sure it's not wet, and you're trying to ultimately get it to where each grain is individualized so that the oil coats the entire grain of rice. Okay, before we begin, you want to have everything already measured out from the start of the recipe to the end of the recipe. So let me go over the, so your rice, your mix, which we made earlier with the sausage and the shrimp. You're also going to need some scrambled eggs, a little bit of onion, green onions or scallions, green peas. You could also definitely add some bok choy, you could add carrots, up to you. Empty your refrigerator. You're also going to need some of the liquids, a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of oyster sauce, and a little bit of sesame oil. Have all of these close to your stove. Next thing we're going to do is get the pan hot. This is where the wok can help versus a non-stick skillet. I'm going to get this thing on high. I want it as hot as I can get it. Traditional inside a restaurant, the BTUs of those stoves are much, much higher than, so commercial stove, than a residential stove. I'm going to show you a tip that will make it so you'll get some of that same flavor. But let's transfer everything to the other side where the stove is and get the wok heated. So as you can see, I have everything right next to the counter lined up, actually even in order, so that I don't even have to think about what to grab next. So highly recommend you do that. All right, so we're gonna get the the wok on high heat. Take a few minutes to get that. One other thing that I would definitely recommend if you're doing a lot of wok cooking is get you a non-neutral oil. I'm just using vegetable. There's definitely some better oils out there for this, but vegetable, canola, those work just fine. But non-neutral, high smoke oil and squeeze bottle. We're gonna be using a lot of this, or tablespoons at a time, and it's definitely just easier to squirt it in there. So have that at the ready. All right, so after a few minutes, I wanna take the wok and put a little, quite more oil than you would think, but about 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna actually take the temperature, because I'm gonna first start with the eggs, down to medium. I want the pan smoking hot, so in a wok that the sides even are a little bit warm. And then I'm just going to pour this straight in. Let it set just for a second to get a little bit fluffy, but this is obviously going to cook really quick. And then kind of fold it around, and you're just really frying the egg. Minute or two is all this is going to take. Also have a bowl right beside, because a lot of these steps we're going to be cooking it, taking it out to ultimately put it back in. You only need one bowl. Ultimately it's all going to end up in the same container. Get a little color on the egg. And we're done. Same steps. For this one, you don't even have to wipe it out. Put a little more oil. We're gonna put the mix, which is the shrimp, the pork, in the container, or in the wok, and we're gonna start stir frying it. Gonna bring the heat back up, and we will fry this. So just continue to stir fry this. Obviously the shrimp will not take near as long as the pork, but if you just keep tossing it, it will all get cooked. And you want to break up the pork as much as possible. Use the wood spoon a little bit, a little more strength. Now, you want to cook it to where it is just almost done. Don't overcook it, especially those shrimp. All right, after it's cooked for about a minute, maybe a little longer, we're gonna add the onion and fry that up. Get a little bit of color on the onions and continue cooking the mix. All right, after that has sauteed just a little bit or fried, you've got your positive that your pork is cooked. The onions have got a little bit of cook to them. Put that in the same container as your egg. This is the point where I like to wipe out the wok. This is a big handful of paper towels. All right, we're gonna add some oil. And this is where we're gonna add the rice. You're gonna stir fry the rice for a minute. And you want to let it set a little bit so it gets a little bit of color, but at the same time, you can smash it down so that it starts to separate. You're gonna have to fry it though and toss it to get the oil evenly coated throughout. But look for those big clumps because you want to break those up. The more you cook it, the grains are going to start separating and you'll probably even get a little bit of color. All right, so this has been going about 30 seconds. We want to add the green onions, or some people call them scallions. Stir fry this just for a couple seconds, maybe 30 seconds. Continue getting that color. After the 30 seconds, you want to return your egg and mixture in. Use this time also to help break some of that egg up. You want smaller pieces of egg, no different than the shrimp and the pork. Anything you want to put in here, you can put in here, but make sure the pieces are a little bit small. It's going to make it a whole lot easier to eat. After you stir fried that, time to add the peas. Add a little bit of peas. And then also all of the sauces. So this is sesame oil, soy sauce, and oyster sauce. And we're going to fry this up together. Still seeing any chunks of rice? Like I'm still seeing a couple. Break those up. Give it one final toss. All right, so I told you, so right there it is good, but we're gonna take it to the restaurant level. This is where you get to use the torch. Get you a torch, and you wanna flame it. Just want to burn a little bit of the oil right on top. Just that little bit of a char. I do it just for a little bit. I'm going to fry it up, mix it up just a little bit, and then do it one more time. And that is done. We're gonna transfer it to a container and we're gonna dig in. All done, there is our finished product. Now you can definitely eat it like this if you wanna take it to the next level, couple thoughts. You can go with some dark soy sauce, add a little bit of sweetness. What I like to add on mine Definitely not a sponsor, but the original Japanese barbecue sauce. This is something that I picked up at a local store, and it is some of the greatest tasting stuff. So I just put a slight drizzle right on top, and we get to eat. Oh, it's so good. This is so much better than what you can get at your takeout places. There's so much there going on with that rice. It is wonderful, and I like the pork and the shrimp, of course, and even that egg, the way it's cooked into that rice is really good. Great flavor. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe so we can grow this channel. But always please remember, okra never will go in gumbo. Beans cannot go in chili, but it is perfectly acceptable to put pineapple on pizza.